Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. Welcome to today's video. It's an important video today, one that I'm sure we can all relate to. I get the demographics from YouTube on who watches these videos, and I know that 2/3 of you are older than me. So today we're going to talk about droop. We're going to talk about how to identify it, how to measure it, and more importantly, how to fix it. Now, barrel droop starts usually from cocking. It'll be a break-barreled rifle. Chewy beans, love. A break-barreled rifle, and what happens is when you cock it, you put quite a lot of force on the end of the barrel, and that can bend it. And especially if you get to the end of the stroke, and obviously we all hold on to the end of the barrel while we're loading the pellet, but if you're pulling on that against the stop and you don't know your own strength, you can bend it even more. So that is one of the most common causes of barrel droop. It's most prevalent in guns with silly long, spindly, thin, horrible barrels like HW35s, for example. And I would show you how to sort this out on an HW35 today, but I don't have one because I have the gift of vision. So I'm going to use an HW80 instead. Now, when you get barrel droop, you might not even realise that's what it is. Quite often on forums, you'll see people saying things like, I've just put a scope onto my gun and at maximum elevation, I still can't get the pellet up to where the crosshairs are. What am I doing wrong? Now, it could just be the mounts. That does happen. Swapping the mounts around can help that. And then if that doesn't work, quite often people will shim the rear mount, which angles the scope a little bit to bring the point of impact up into the reticle. And that's great. But it can be barrel droop, which is, as I say, where the barrel is pointing downwards from the line of the gun. So first of all, how do we measure it? How do we check? Now, the whole reason for this video is I'd love to say this is the TBT patented droop detector because it sounds awesome. But my mate Mike brought this round. Now, Mike is the fella with all the pellets and all the bits, and oh, he's got so much. It's like an Aladdin's cave of stuff. And he's always dropping stuff round for me to try. The BSA Merlin, if you remember that. I've got a Walther air pistol, one of the Olympic grade air pistols to test in a bit. I've got that down there that he's lent me. But he brought this round for me. Look at that. He said, here, have that. I said, what do I want that for? He said, it's a droop detector. I gave him the look, you know. You know what you do? It's very simple. Because if you get a straight edge, right, so it's just a straight edge and you put it on the breech block there, you may be able to detect if the barrel is bent along that part there. But if it's actually a problem at the breech, it won't detect it. So what this does, what we've got here is U-channel. Just aluminium U-channel, like that, cut apart and epoxied together. So you've got the U-channel there and the U-channel here. And what you do is you place that on the top of the gun, it goes on there, and then you can see that goes along the barrel. And you get a vernier gauge and you measure it from one end to the other and see. Now this, there is no droop on this, it's my HW80. But you can measure if there's any droop at any point along that barrel compared to the cylinder, which is where the dovetails are. That is just brilliant, beautifully simple and brilliant. Like Mike, seriously, kudos for that, absolutely fantastic. Now, I dare say lots of you are now typing, and I've had one of those for ages. If you have, well done to you too, because until a week or so ago, I hadn't seen one of these. I wasn't aware of it. So that is how you can detect whether you have a droopy barrel to the exact nth degree. There are two causes that I know of for a droopy barrel. The first one, as I've mentioned, if it's a thin barrel, extra long, like an HW35, it could just be bent. And if it's bent, you're going to be able to tell after doing this one with a straight edge off the breech block there and just measuring this here, and it'll tell you whether it's been bent from the breech block. And if it has, do you know the easiest way to fix that? And I've done plenty like this. Bend it back again. As simple as it sounds, that's it. You put the breech block into a vise, and then you get hold of the end of the barrel, or if the barrel isn't long enough, although if it's bent, the chances are it are, you just pull, you just gently pull, and then measure. Pull, and measure. And you can straighten a barrel that way. You're only trying to bring it back up again. Now, people will say, oh, but what if it's not perfectly straight? If it's not perfectly true? That doesn't necessarily matter. Who was it now? Is it Stayer? I think Stayer, possibly. I might be wrong. Again, comment below to correct me if I am. But one of the target-orientated pistol manufacturers did a barrel, a PCP air pistol, where it actually went completely in a corkscrew around the air tank and then out the end. And as long as the last however many centimeters it was is pointing the direction you want to go, it doesn't matter. It does a full 360 corkscrew and then exits, and it is just as accurate as a straight one. So don't let that worry you. It's where it points at the end that matters. So if it is bent between the breech and the muzzle, you can bring that back just by manipulation. Just be more gentle cocking it in the future. This happened a lot in the 1980s, and most of us are old enough to remember this. Ox springs. We thought they were the knees of the bees, the wasps of the nipples. Every erogenous zone of every major winged insect in the northern hemisphere. But they were terrible. All they did were ruin our guns, and the barrels included. So you've got your droop detector, patent pending. You have detected a droop. You have then put a straight edge on here and realised it isn't from the breech today. It's something here that's wrong. What do we do? Now, again, full kudos for Mike for this, what I'm going to show you. Because he showed me on a brand new gun. And I couldn't believe it. So I'm going to take this apart now. And then we're going to come into this. This is my HW8. We're going to break into this. And we're going to have a little look-see, and I'll show you what he detected and what he fixed and how he fixed it. Now, the reason I'm using the HW80 today is going to be apparent. The next video I do after this one is going to be about a new HW80 Maxi Pro kit. Now, don't get overexcited. If you've already got one, you don't need to replace it. I'm just changing the spring. I'm changing the spring to make it easier for people to get it under 12. If you have the one that's currently available, don't worry about it. You don't need to change it. That one works just as well, if not maybe even a little better. But because it's such a hefty spring, some people are saying they want something a little bit easier. So we're going to change the spring. But that's the next video. You don't need to worry about that here. That's just why I'm using my HW80. Now, this is a short-barreled HW80. A carbine one. Get off my arm. And I'm only running it at 17 foot-pounds, so there's not, with one of our springs, so there's not an awful lot of force on the spring, on the lever, so it's not at risk from bending. But we shall show you anyway. So first thing I'm going to do is take off the stock. Come off of there, there we go. One stock removed. And now we're going to remove the barrel. This is going to be trickier than usual because I would normally remove the barrel when it is in the broken position with the spring removed. We're not going that deep into it. This is just a very short video about droop. So first thing we need to do is identify which side is our nut and which side is our bolt. And you can see that simply by looking inside of the slot. And in this one, you can see the bolt protruding up through the center. So I know this is the nut. So this is the one I undo first. Like that. That comes out. Locking washer comes out into my magnetic tray. Next, I want to undo the bolt. Now, this is going to be more difficult than usual because not only am I fighting the tightness of the thread. Turny, 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 turny. Let's try a larger one in that. There we go. Are we through? I do believe we are. So pop that there. I'm going to have to tap this one through because we are still fighting a bit of the detentiness, I believe. Like that. Now I'm going to have to poke him all the way through with an probe. Comme ça. And now we remove our 2 shims from either side of the breech block, and then the arm from the cocking shoe. There we go. So there we have it. So if you've detected a bit of barrel droop, but it isn't between here and here, that means it is here. And what I did not realise, because Mike came round, he had a brand new HW99 that he'd just bought. And that's why he bought his fan. He said, I just got a new 99. So I think he had a kit for it off me. But he said, it had barrel droop straight away. I hate it when that happens. I kind of looked at him, because I only really knew about the barrel droop from the pulley on the thing. He said, oh no, he said, quite often the breech block's wrong. So what you do is when you're measuring there, and then you measure off the top of there with your straight edge, and that's fine. If you do have barrel droop, but it is fine from here to here, there is a problem here. And what he told me about, which, you know, every day is a school day. Every day is a school day. Inside of here, we have got, in fact, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to do a close-up of this bit. Come over here. Inside of here, just underneath the chisel detent, sorry, the piece that the chisel detent works against. How am I going to get this so you can see it? There we go. There's a flat bar here, and what that flat bar does is that is a rest for the barrel to rest against. So, looking at the barrel itself, you can see where we have, let's get that into the sun. It's difficult as we come into autumn, finding proper sunlight for this is trickier. So there's our chisel detent, and that is the flat part that rests against the flat bar inside of our compression tube here. And if they are meeting too soon, it's going to push the barrel in a downward angle, giving you barrel droop from the outset on a brand new gun. And that's what he had detected on his HW99. So what he'd done is put this into a vise, and then very carefully he'd filed down this a tiny amount at a time until it was perfectly aligned. And that's what I wanted to show you today, because I'd not heard of that before. It's something I just wasn't aware of, and that's what this tool shows you. And isn't that amazing? I mean, seriously, isn't that amazing? All of these years, and if I've had a gun that was shooting too low, I would, with a straight edge, I would check to see if the barrel was droopy. If it didn't show it was droopy, I'd pack the rear of the scope. In extreme cases, you'd buy a droop compensating mount, and they're not cheap. But I wonder in how many of those cases it was just there was too much material there. It could just be a burr. I can actually feel burrs on that part there. If there's a burr there, it's just going to knock it up ever so. It only has to be ever so slightly. A millimetre here, I don't know how much that'd be at 40 metres. Somebody could tell me if I drop a millimetre here in angle, how much low is that going to make the shot at 40 metres? In fact, we'll make that today's homework. You can tell me that one. So that's amazing. And that is what I wanted to show you today. So special thanks to Mike. I am now going to be making myself one of these. That's why I've got this. Got the wrong size though, but I don't think it will matter. But I'm going to be making myself one of these, and then I'm going to be checking all of my break barrel rifles. This one is the first one I've checked. This one is absolutely fine. My HW80 is fine, but there are many others. I'm going to check them all, and I'm going to correct any that I find that are wrong. And I hope you learned something today, as I did, because I love it when I find something I didn't know before. Like, subscribe, hit notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.